Right now, a storm is moving into northern Utah. Coming up, potential snow totals, what you can expect for your Friday morning commute, and if it's strong enough to clear out our bad air.
The governor speaks to the people of Utah in his annual State of the State address.
Queer students are held to a different standard than straight students.
A federal investigation into how BYU disciplines its LGBTQ students is leaving many of those students hopeful tonight.
Somehow BYU escapes it every time.
Why they worry things may not change.
If we need to use the dogs, a bad thing has happened.
And when things do get bad on the slopes, a special tool is deployed.
We can hopefully save somebody.
How man's best friend is trained to be man's best chance for survival.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Our top story tonight is the return of snow in northern Utah. This is a live look at 700 North in Logan and the snow that is falling there tonight. How much will this impact tomorrow morning's commute?
Let's get the answer from Utah's Weather Authority, Allison Krogan.
Yes, so tonight we will have slick roads this evening at times into tomorrow morning. Slushy conditions absolutely possible for tomorrow morning's commute. Right now, most of the snow is about I-80 north in northern Utah, so right near the airport and north here in Salt Lake. However, we're starting to see that snow filling in for the Uintas, and as we look up, the Ogres, and as we go ahead and zoom into the Salt Lake Valley right now, that snow is starting to approach Antelope Island, moving into West Jordan, Harriman, seeing some snowflakes. Snowflakes up through Farmington, Kaysville, West Haven, Ogden, South Willard, and then we're going to continue with some areas of snow through Logan. So that's the camera that we are just looking at. Tomorrow here in Salt Lake, we will have some slick roads for the morning drive, 33 degrees here in Salt Lake City. By tomorrow evening, same temperature but partly cloudy. The storm moves through extremely quickly. Our temperatures tonight here in Salt Lake, our overnight temp will be right around 30 degrees. Cloudy, snow is likely. So how is this impacting our air quality and how much snow can we expect? I'll have those answers coming up.
Believe in my heart that if America is the last great hope of the world, then Utah is the last great hope of America.
Tonight, Governor Spencer Cox spoke to the people of Utah and to the legislature in his annual State of the State address.
The governor talked about the ongoing pandemic, water conservation. He also proposed some new policies to help Utah families.
Fox 13's Ben Winslow explains more tonight from Utah's Capitol Hill.
The governor addressed some of the most pressing issues facing the state and offered new policy proposals in his annual speech.
Happy families only exist in orange juice commercials in Utah.
Governor Spencer Cox offered hope that Utah's surge in COVID-19 cases would end soon.
To Utahns from all sides of the political spectrum, there has been and will undoubtedly continue to be disagreements on how best to respond to this ongoing pandemic. But may we all find common ground tonight on this one issue. Our children need us to be strong. They need us to point to a hopeful future.
The governor thanked healthcare workers and teachers for their work in the ongoing pandemic. He proposed $970 million in education funding focused on at-risk and economically disadvantaged kids, and a new office to help parents and children in need.
A child's zip code should never determine their future or their opportunities. This session, I am also proposing the elimination of all school fees for the basic coursework required for graduation.
The governor proposed a $160 million grocery tax credit.
I think we can all agree that it's time we gave some of that hard-earned money back to Utahns.
The governor urged support for water conservation measures, backing Speaker Brad Wilson's efforts to save the Great Salt Lake.
As a conservative, I believe that we should always work to make constitutional rights more accessible, not less.
In pointed remarks, Governor Cox defended access to voting. He told the legislature he's not interested in fighting culture wars and criticized toxic politics.
We may not always get it right. We reject false choices. Here in Utah, we proudly protect religious liberties and love and proudly protect our LGBTQ neighbors. We deeply love our refugees and immigrants from all parts of the world and deeply respect the rule of law.
The governor ended by calling for unity to grapple with big issues.
It is our privilege to represent the great citizens of the state. if for but a moment in time. Let's do the big things. Let's do the things that matter.
The governor can certainly propose policies, but it's the legislature that passes them and funds them. In separate statements, the House Speaker and Senate President say that while they may have some differing opinions on things like tax relief, they are committed to working with the governor on collaborative solutions. On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Let me first say, there are some of Governor Cox's proposals that Democrats can agree with. While we might disagree on the best policy approach, our state faces many critical issues that we must come together as a legislature to resolve.
In their formal response to the governor's address tonight, House and Senate Democrats pushed housing affordability, a living wage, child care, also better solutions to the pandemic.
Utahns also want us as a legislature to protect our democracy, not to undermine it with lies and misinformation. Utahns want their elections to be fair, secure, and accessible, not needlessly and falsely maligned. We urge the governor and our legislative colleagues to take a stand against the extremist voices of a fringe minority and work with us, join with us where most Utahns are, and let's get things done for the people of Utah.
You can watch all of the governor's speech as well as the minority leadership response on our website at fox13now.com.
Tonight, Brigham Young University is being investigated by the federal government for how it disciplines LGBTQ students. Our partners at the Salt Lake Tribune took a deep dive into the investigation and broke the story today.
Fox 13's Emily Tenser spoke with students. She joins us live tonight from Provo. Emily.
An investigation into BYU's treatment of LGBTQ+ students has been ongoing since the end of October. It has the queer community here on campus feeling hopeful, but also skeptical.
I've grown up in Utah, and I understand kind of the invincibility that the Mormon church can have, and so I kind of was like, wow, this is so cool, but somehow BYU escapes it every time.
Salt Lake Tribune reporter Courtney Tanner broke the story Thursday. She says it's very rare for the feds to look into private schools with religious exemptions.
So this essentially means that the federal government has some reason to believe that BYU is going beyond what it's already exempt from doing with Title IX.
The investigation is specifically looking into how the university disciplines its queer students. Senior Everett Patterson says punishment for same-sex dating can range from a warning to even expulsion. He knows someone personally who had to leave BYU.
They had gone and admitted it themselves, assuming that there would be some kind of discipline, but not that they would be expelled from the university, and they were expelled.
Junior Christian Hunt says he was called into his boss's office to discuss numerous complaints against him because of these stickers on his water bottle. He says every time he thinks the university is making strides toward acceptance, it ends up letting him down.
It's just kind of like one step forward, two steps back.
The university sent Fox 13 this statement saying in part that opening an investigation does not mean that the Office for Civil Rights has taken a position on the allegations in the complaint. It then quoted the feds, who said opening the complaint for investigation in no way implies that we have made a determination with regard to its merits. Patterson doesn't know if change will come, but he's encouraged that people are noticing.
All of the reasons that straight students come to this university are the reasons that we come to the university. And the fact that queer students are held to a different standard than straight students, because a straight student wouldn't be expelled for going on a date or holding hands or kissing.
The university says it, quote, does not anticipate any further action by the Office for Civil Rights on this complaint. Reporting live at BYU, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming from, Ephraim's dad, Ephraim's mom, we just want to say we appreciate everything you guys done.
That was former NFL and University of Utah football player Matt Asiata expressing gratitude tonight on social media as his son Ephraim continues to recover in the hospital. It was 1 week ago today that Ephraim and two of his friends were shot near Hunter High School. Ephraim's friends died. These remarks happened during a charity raffle on Instagram tonight. Real Salt Lake legend Nick Raimondo also appeared on the live stream this evening. The live raffle continues until tomorrow night.
He was away from his police chief job for months. Tonight, the Fox 13 investigative team will tell you why he was still collecting a paycheck.
A former Utah Valley University student athlete, now behind bars, accused of playing a role in a national catfishing scheme.
They took a photograph of themselves holding the check, but I could see when I got it that it was Photoshop.
How he was caught and where the case stands tonight.
If we need to use the dogs, a bad thing has happened. And so that's why we stay on top of our training to provide the best service we can.
And Fox 13 News takes an inside look at the training avalanche dogs go through to save people's lives. It's a story you'll only see here.
It's a busy night for college basketball around the state with 6 games locally. I'll have all those highlights coming up in sports.
Hi, welcome back. Right now, time is 9:14. You're taking a live look in Layton at US 89 and 3000 North, just south of Weber Canyon. Quite a bit of snow coming down in the area. Our next camera that we're going to show you is Washington Boulevard. So US 89 at 24th Street in Ogden. You can see some snow has been sticking to the ground. A little slick out there. I'll have your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Allison. The Utah Senate voted today to suspend Test to Stay. That's the program designed to try and keep students in school when COVID-19 case counts gets too high. Instead, they'll now allow schools to seek remote learning as a way to deal with the climbing number of cases and a lack of COVID tests available.
If we say without symptoms, now we take people that don't have COVID, but they have some sniffles or they have diarrhea. Maybe they ate, a burrito the night before. I don't know. And we start excluding them from schools because that's open for interpretation.
Some Democrats crossed the aisle to support the bill on a 24-3 vote. It previously passed the House. It now goes to the governor, who is expected to sign it.
More than 100 students in Park City walked out of class today to protest the legislature's effort to overturn the Summit County mask mandate. Before schools stopped Test to Stay, there was a 20% infection rate at Park City High School. Many were hoping the school board would give them a remote option, but after an emergency meeting last Friday, the board decided to keep students in the classroom. Senior Luis Alvarez wasn't in that protest, but does think the schools should offer remote learning again.
We're almost at 200 positive cases and we still haven't shut down. I think it was important for us because we're the ones coming here every day and risking the fact that we could get sick at any moment.
The organized protest today was a result of state lawmakers' recent effort to remove Summit County's current mask mandate. The Utah House has yet to take up the Senate resolution to overturn that mandate.
Bob, right now, avalanche danger, it is low, but with a storm in the forecast, that could suddenly change. A crucial tool when someone is caught in a slide is avalanche dogs. Fox 13's Spencer Joseph got an exclusive look at the training happening here in Utah that draws in dogs and trainers from all across the country.
You've heard the saying, dogs are man's best friend. But up in Little Cottonwood Canyon, there's a group of dogs training to do more than just be loyal companions.
Are you an avalanche dog? Yeah. These dogs are a great tool for us. They've proven themselves valuable over the last several years as we've seen an increase in backcountry users.
Wasatch Backcountry Rescue's Avalanche Dog Training School brings in students from all over the West Coast.
We've got teams from Colorado, Idaho, and California that have come here for the week of training. We also have a few of our teams here from across the Wasatch.
Pay them if they're doing their job. Including Maya and Zach.
Maya is 1.5 years old. She's a golden retriever. She's done very well this week. WBR has welcomed a lot of people from across the U.S. and usually Canada to come to this school.
This pair, best of friends, are getting ready to save lives.
We've spent all week burying each other in the snow and letting these dogs find us and just helping everybody progress with the idea that we can hopefully save somebody.
Golden retrievers like Maya are among the variety of dog breeds building their resumes.
What we generally look for is kind of the hunting breed.
Put your dog into a sit.
We want a dog that's pretty resilient out in the harsh weather.
And call them left.
And then we also want a dog that's going to work hard, that's trainable.
While training on the ground is one thing, training in the air is the mission of the day.
And so what we do is we hot load teams down here in the lower mountain.
Yes, man.
them up to a site on the hill to simulate getting flown into a live rescue. Good training for the handlers and dogs. Try to create a real life scenario.
So as their week of training comes to a close, and the dogs are mastering their air rescue skills, rest assured if something bad does happen, dogs like these will be on the ready to save lives.
If we need to use the dogs, a bad thing has happened. And so that's why we stay on top of our training to provide the best service we can.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Boy, man's best friend helping out again, even up in the mountains.
Yes, they're
absolutely.
Great. Woman's best friend, too.
Yeah.
That's right. Shout out to our dogs that we love. We can finally get outside, take them for some nice walks that they deserve because better air is on the way. A spectacular sunset tonight. I would be remiss to not mention how beautiful the pictures are coming in on our Facebook group. This picture from Janine facing directly south during sunset this evening. And this was a picture This was in Sugar House from Lori. Again, a fantastic picture, and I have improvements to the air quality in the forecast, and we have snow coming down right now here across northern Utah. So that snow is starting to fill in somewhat across the Salt Lake Valley. You'll see some snowflakes here over the next couple of hours tonight. We're not looking at a ton of precipitation here in the valleys, but enough to maybe stick to the ground and create some slick driving conditions. We've already seen that snow sticking to the ground in Ogden, up through Logan this evening. So we really just have to make sure we're traveling with caution, especially for our overpasses, bridges, areas where there's that air flowing beneath it. So Layton, Bountiful, Ogden right now through Weber Canyon up towards the Ogden Valley, Huntsville, near Snow Basin, Powder Mountain, further north. Mountain passes will also be very tough at times through this evening and into tomorrow morning. So we'll have potentially a slick Friday morning commute. We'll want to keep that in mind. Logan, a little bit of a break right now, but had some snow earlier in the evening. Overall, this is all Salt Lake County north right now, but this will be moving throughout the state as we head into your Friday tomorrow and for the rest of this evening. Our temperatures right now, 33 for Ogden, 34 for Tooele, 32 for Provo right now, 32 for Brigham City, upper 30s in Salt Lake and Wendover, 29 for Vernal, 27 for Price, currently 42 right now in St. George, 31 in Cedar City. So the storm will break up our inversion. We're going to have modest snow showers here in the valleys. Up in the mountains, we're looking at closer to about maybe half a foot of snow. So we will definitely have some slick driving conditions. And then we'll have some gusty canyon winds, especially for Washington County heading into tomorrow night. So as you wake up here along the Wasatch Front tomorrow morning, we'll have that chance for snow 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m. And so you'll want to just keep that in mind. Might have to set your alarm a few minutes early in case we have people driving too fast for the conditions and causing crashes and backups. So just take it easy tomorrow morning. 7 a.m., close to about 30 degrees for Provo, Salt Lake, and Ogden. This isn't going to be a monstrous storm, but it will still be slick out there at times tonight. And then into tomorrow morning, we're going to end up with potentially 0 to 3 inches of snow here in the valleys. And then by tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we're close to 35 to 40. We have better air already out there. System quickly moves to our south, so that's why we have this low pressure to our south tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we're going to have those gusty canyon winds, those gap winds for Washington County. That's where it looks most likely. And then we look at the forecast through this weekend into next Tuesday, more of a blocking pattern, so the storms are mainly going to be staying off to our north and east until about the 29th. Next weekend, we're going to have the chance for some more storms to return, but wind will start to pick up in southwest Utah tomorrow and tomorrow night. That'll be our biggest problematic area. Now for St. George, you're close to 50 degrees tomorrow, mostly cloudy, upper 50s for Saturday and Sunday with sunshine. 38 tomorrow here in Salt Lake, mid to upper 30s through the weekend. We'll talk more about snow totals and air quality coming up in your Super 7-day forecast.
Allison, thanks. Still ahead, a call for more resources to help those with disabilities in Utah. Why advocates say service providers are dealing with a crisis.
And new details tonight in the case of a couple who were shot and killed near Moab last summer.
A year in review, Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall has released the city's 2021 report card. It is about public accountability and tracking the city's progress. Among efforts to support affordable housing, small businesses, and tech innovation, an achievement Mayor Mendenhall is especially proud of, the decrease in crime.
It's a massive swing of improvement. And thank you very much to all of our first responders, but especially our police department and Chief Brown working through the the most aggressive crime control plan that the city's ever put together.
Looking forward, the mayor will outline this year's agenda and goals next Tuesday, January 25th.
Staffing shortages are becoming more and more common throughout the pandemic, and Utah's disability services say they are almost at a breaking point because of insufficient funding. In a multi-agency news conference today at the state capitol, parents, providers, and advocacy organizations, they said the crisis stems from the inability to pay competitive wages to direct support professionals. This is leading to those with disabilities not getting the care they need.
They want to do this professionally, but there's not an avenue to do that for very long. So again, they need training. They need proper supports themselves to be able to sustain this kind of a job.
Colleen Kenny there continued to say those who want to provide this service as a profession cannot support their own families the way things are now.
How would you like to be on sick leave and still get paid while working a second job?
Why are you guys violating the policy and allowing this violation to go on?
Tonight, the Fox 13 investigative team will tell you about a police chief that was doing that.
Is it possible Omicron is near a plateau in Utah and the United States? We'll talk about that coming up.
There's a high school basketball rule change that will be a game changer, plus a big night for college basketball.
If these are the policies and they're not being followed, it would be certainly super important to get that addressed.
There's an argument for the constituents to make that, why are you guys violating the policy and allowing this violation to go on?
The Fox 13 News investigative team has been telling you about problems within Moab's police department. The chief went on leave in September after two of his officers let Gabby Petito and her boyfriend Brian Laundrie go despite a domestic violence altercation.
Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle explains how the chief worked a second job while taking sick time from his first.
Fox 13 has been reviewing pay records for Moab Police Chief Brett Edge, but documents the city doesn't have are important too. Edge has never submitted paperwork declaring his outside employment as required by city policy, nor has to work it while he was on leave. Moab paid Edge $192,000 in salary and benefits to be its police chief in 2021. He also has a business as a photographer with a website selling photo guides and advertising his services. Here's a tweet from Edge on November 8th saying he was doing a photo shoot for an outerwear company that day. Records for that pay period show Moab was paying Edge through his sick time. The city's employee handbook states, employees who have accepted outside employment may not use city-paid sick leave to perform work on the outside job.
When you have large amounts of money that are going out, it's really important that it's really open, it's transparent, everyone knows where it's going, and that the rules are being followed.
Maggie Johnston is a Moab resident who last year spoke against a proposed tax increase in the city. We showed her what we found out about Edge.
If these are the policies and they're not being followed, it would be certainly super important to get that addressed.
Utah State Parks has hired Edge's photo business at least 6 times over the years. Grand County has hired it once. According to public records, it all adds up to about $8,500 in income. But Fox 13 has learned Edge solicited private work even while he was on leave. He sent tweets showing him traveling southern Utah and northern Arizona and promoting his photo guides.
Anytime they're not following their own policies, it can have repercussions down the line.
April Hollingsworth is a Utah employment law attorney who has no connection to Edge or Moab government. She says not enforcing the outside employment policies for one worker could expose the city to liability if it tries to enforce the policies on someone else.
There's an argument for the constituents to make that, why are you guys violating the policy and allowing this violation to go on?
Edge declined Fox 13's request for an interview. A Moab spokeswoman said Edge's leave was a personnel matter she couldn't discuss, though she did say Edge will return to work once he has completed a standard fitness review. In the studio, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Grand County Sheriff's Office have concluded that Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were not connected to the murders of Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner outside of Moab last summer. We're also learning more about how and when Kylan and Crystal were killed. According to the Grand County Sheriff's Office, they were each shot multiple times on August 14th. That's 4 days before their bodies were found in an irrigation ditch near their campsite. The medical examiner also determined neither victim was sexually assaulted. Investigators say they have person of interest, however, have not identified a suspect.
Something that happens is anytime news comes out, is there is a hope that maybe it sparks something new with someone or creates more willingness with someone that's known something that whole time and hasn't spoken up.
This Saturday, there will be a dedication ceremony at the Grand County Public Library in Moab for a new art piece honoring Kylan and Crystal. People will have an opportunity to also share their memories of the two women. That ceremony is happening at 2 p.m.
A former Utah Valley University athlete has been indicted on mail and wire fraud charges. Court records showed 22-year-old Ashraf Abudu and his co-conspirators used a scheme to fake romantic interest in victims to get money. In all, he received $275,000 in unemployment benefits and payments from victims between January 2020 and March of last year. Mike Clark says Abudu tried to scam him last spring.
I sent two checks, one for $50 on one account and another for $25 on another account. And I thought, well, we'll see what happens. They took a photograph of themselves holding the check, but I could see when I got it that it was photoshopped. In other words, it was a picture of this woman, but with a strange looking hand holding one of my checks.
Abudu made his initial appearance in U.S. District Court via Zoom this afternoon. He is currently being held at the Weber County Jail. A man suspected in a sexual assault case in Utah County has been arrested for a second time now in Scotland.
Nicholas Rossi was accused of faking his own death in 2020. But the Utah County Attorney's Office says he was identified through photo evidence while in a hospital last month. It was reported this morning that another warrant was given and he was arrested once again. Rossi is tied to a sexual assault case in Utah dating back to 2008. He is now due in court tomorrow.
A woman who was shot at a house in Draper last night has been released from the hospital. Police say 37-year-old John War forced his way into the house to collect money from the woman's husband. Officers say War started shooting. The husband returned fire and his wife was caught in the crossfire. War was arrested at the scene. He now faces aggravated burglary charges.
Coming up, as the Omicron variant continues its surge, we'll dig into the data on how it's impacting people and how long that surge could last.
And a storm has arrived here in northern Utah. How this is impacting our air quality and what you can expect for tomorrow morning's commute coming up.
Utah has now surpassed 4,000 COVID-19 deaths since the pandemic began. That's after health officials announced the COVID-19 deaths of 22 more Utahns today. The state once again set a new record for hospitalizations. 756 COVID patients are being treated right now. A little more than 11,600 new COVID cases were also reported today.
Now, those are stark numbers we're seeing with Utah's Omicron surge. But behind the numbers are signs things might improve in the near future.
We all hope so. Fox 13's Max Roth takes an in-depth look at how we got here and where we may be going.
You know, it helps to think of Omicron as a speedster of a virus. It may have something in common with other fast things. A cheetah can only maintain its top speed for 20 or 30 seconds. The fastest Ferrari runs out of gas quick. It gets 13 miles per gallon. There are signs Omicron may run out of gas more quickly than other variants.
We'll start by clocking the two biggest COVID variants from 0 to 95% of infections in Utah. It took Omicron 5 weeks from its first detected case to make up 95% of all Utah cases. It took Delta 19 weeks to dominate to the same degree. When Omicron hit 95%, Utah was averaging over 3,000 new cases a day. When Delta hit 95%, Utah averaged about 570 new cases each day. Considering the overwhelming case numbers, a much smaller percentage of people infected are going to the hospital. But it's still more COVID-19 patients than they've seen in the pandemic. 1 month ago, 443 Utahns were hospitalized with COVID-19, 182 of them in the ICU. At last count, 756 Utahns were hospitalized with COVID-19. That is a record high. Before last week, the record was 606 patients in December of 2020. But Omicron has not set a record yet for the ICU patient numbers. That record was set on October 7th, 2021, 239 patients. Omicron's acceleration may have a silver lining. The first country with an outbreak was South Africa. They accelerated for 4 weeks and then slowed down almost as quickly. In Europe, Omicron was first detected in the UK. It took them 4 weeks to peak as well. And here in the U.S., the last week tracked by Johns Hopkins University was our 4th week. We'll have to see if we follow the same course.
Keep in mind, 40% of Utahns are not vaccinated, so that means Omicron has a smaller group of people at high risk of hospitalization. In South Africa, Delta caused as big a surge as Omicron, largely because they did not have vaccines available until after their Delta surge. In the newsroom, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, a new BYU study says children who are taught money management by their parents have better romantic relationships. How researchers came to that conclusion.
Full night of college basketball around the state. 6 teams in state, all playing on their home court, including BYU. They were battling for second place in the WCC against San Diego. All the highlights are on the way.
Hey, welcome back. This is a live look at Little Cottonwood Canyon. This is at the base of the canyon, so very close to the Sandy Draper area. Further up the canyon, we also have some snow coming down. It's starting to stick to the roads up in Ogden right now. Logan has some snow on the ground as well. I've got snow filling in across the Salt Lake Valley coming up in your Super 7-day forecast.
Oh, just clean up the air. That's all we ask. The University of Utah is one of only 5 universities nationwide chosen to receive some special funding. A grant of more than $500,000 from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation will go toward expanding the U's School of Cultural and Social Transformation, or as it's known on campus, Transform. The aim is to build a national network for intersectional studies, or how race, class, gender, and other individual characteristics intersect.
I, as the principal investigator, joined 4 other PIs at 4 other major universities in the U.S. Our mandate for Mellon is to try to build this intersectional collective for the country and to advance intersectional studies across United States universities.
The grant will cover 3 years of focus with the University of Utah.
BYU researchers say good relationship outcomes can be linked to good financial habits. They studied 18 to 30-year-olds all across the country who are in relationships. They looked at how well their parents taught them about money management. They say they found if parents did not teach their children good financial habits, those children would be less likely to have healthy romantic relationships in their young adult years.
They're less likely to have good financial behaviors and habits, and that takes a toll on their relationship.
Researchers say parents who are looking to teach their children proper money management can set the example, also talk about money, and give your children experiences to learn about money. Good lessons there. The Weber School District wants to help their elementary students get excited about computer science.
Tonight in South Ogden, they hosted their first bilingual family code night with their partner, a company called Skillstruct. They aim to engage with families and make them aware of the opportunities that computer science provides.
And we're just inviting families in to kind of see what's going on, so when their kids come home from school and they're all excited about coding, they know what they're talking about. We want to prepare our students for the future, and the future is computer science. And
Hadley went on to say even if the students aren't excited about coding, it helps them to become problem solvers and see things in the real world.
So, of course, the two big questions that I've been getting today: will the storm improve our air quality, and how much snow can I expect? And I'm going to get to both of those right now. Our air quality has improved today. We're moderate mostly for the Cache Valley down through Ogden across the Salt Lake Valley. It's also moderate Park City down through Heber and into Utah County. So we're expecting even better air as we head into the next couple of days. Such great pictures coming in on our Facebook group tonight. Chris Williams, always fantastic drone shots. Again, that group is called Utah's Weather Authority. You can see the temple off in the distance. I think this is in South Jordan tonight. Just stunning views. And then Jim Jensen also sent this one in. This is facing north towards Alpine. So Utah County tonight. Again, sunset was out of this world. Such great pictures on our Facebook page. Thanks so much for sending those in. Tracking snow here across northern Utah right now as we zoom into the Salt Lake Valley. Areas of light snow coming down currently near the airport further north. As we make our way up towards Layton and Ogden, we've been seeing some snow sticking to the ground in Ogden and up through Logan. We'll have some tough spots tonight, especially for our mountain passes. At 6 a.m. tomorrow, we're close to 25 to 30 for Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo. The storm moves through our state very quickly tomorrow, and by tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we're close to 35 to 40 here along the Wasatch Front. Air quality by Saturday does have the forecast to be good here in Salt Lake County. St. George, you're close to 50 degrees tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Quite breezy tomorrow night. Overnight temps Friday night will be 34 degrees. Saturday, temperatures will be in the upper 50s for Saturday and Sunday with sunshine in St. George. Here along the Wasatch Front in our Super 7-day forecast, tomorrow 38 for a high. Chance for some snow early in the day. So we'll have slick spots possible for your morning commute tomorrow. Temperatures will peak in the upper 30s after lunchtime tomorrow. And as we look at Saturday, partly cloudy, 36 degrees. Our storm is out of here by the time that you wake up on Saturday morning. So it quickly moves throughout the day on Friday. By Saturday morning, chance for some snow down towards Blanding and Monticello. Breezy conditions for southwest Utah. And for snow totals here along the Wasatch Front, we're looking at a couple of inches. Get to that in just a second. Sunday, if you're planning on getting up into the mountains, we'll be tracking temperatures in the mid-teens at 8 a.m. in the mountains. Here in the valleys, we'll have temperatures in the 20s when you first wake up. Wind chill will be in single digits in the mountains on Sunday morning. For Monday, mostly sunny and 40 degrees. High pressure becomes our main story next week, so more of a blocking pattern again. But for totals with this system that's moving through the state tonight and tomorrow, northern mountains 3 to 7 inches of snow, most valleys 0 to 2, maybe 3 inches for some valleys. But overall, we're tracking some drier conditions starting this weekend. By next Tuesday, 37 degrees for a high here in Salt Lake City, and that chance of precipitation is highest tomorrow. And then by Monday night into Tuesday, could see a few isolated showers, but overall a pretty dry trend. As we look at next Wednesday and Thursday, our temperatures will be in the low 40s here along the Wasatch Front. Overnight temps will be quite a bit cooler starting Friday night. And then by next Wednesday, as we look at our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook through the 30th of January, we'll likely trend a little bit drier than usual for this time of year. And as we look at our 2-week precipitation outlook, at least week 2, I should say. So this is days 8 to 14. This is the 28th of January through the 3rd of February. Looks like we could start trending a little bit wetter than usual for this time of year.
The 6 college basketball teams in the state all played tonight at home, including BYU, who took on San Diego in a battle for second place in the West Coast Conference. Mark Pope also looking to become the fastest head coach to 60 wins in program history. BYU staying close first half thanks to this guy. First to back-to-back threes by Seneca Knight. Alex Barcelo then floating in 2 of his game-high 22. First game with 20 pluses before Christmas. More Knight, this time the steal and the open court layup. Knight tying a season high with 14. But the Toreros were even with the Cougs at 31 at the half. Nice touch by Jace Townsend. BYU started to open up the lead in the second half. Gideon George sparking a run with the 3 ball. Followed by more George, the senior from Nigeria, going inside this time. BYU won it 79-71. The Cougars have now won 6 of their last 7. Utah playing 9th-ranked UCLA. The Utes trying to end the 6-game losing streak. Bruins jumped out to a 7-0 lead on this three from Johnny Juzang. The Utes ended their run with this three from Marco Anthony, putting the Utes on the scoreboard. Then it's more Utah. It's Booth this time. Booth, gosh, deep tree to cut the lead to 4. The Utes lead it by 2 right now in the first half. Utah State faced Boise State, and the Aggies were great in the first half. R.J. Edelrock knocks down 2 of his 14. The Aggies led by 10 in the first half, tight in the second. Brendan Horvath looks down low and scores. Aggies up 1. Then it's Justin Bean, drives and gets the tough bucket and the foul. He also had 14 points. The Aggies were up 3 with a minute to play, but Marcus Shaver Jr., going 0 for 10 before this shot, knocks down the game winner. Boise State won at 62-59. The Aggies have lost 4 in a row. Weber State at home against Idaho State. First half, Alex 2, the jam for the Wildcats. Weber State off to a great start. Then it's Zaire Porter. 3's up and good. Part of the Wildcats' 21-6 run to start the game. How about this dunk from J.J. Overton? He led all scorers with 21 points. Weber State won it big, 95-63. Utah Valley trailed UT Rio Grande Valley by 1 at the half, but Wolverine stepped it up. Latrey Darthard drives in, scores, UVU up 8. Then it's $4 Amick. He had 13 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Utah Valley came from behind to win at 66-56. And in St. George, Dixie State up against Lamar. Hunter Schofield rattles in the 3. He had a game-high 22 points. The Trailblazers were up by 4 at the half. Then in the second, on the break, it's Denzel Letter to finish it off. Dixie State won at 71-55. We'll be right back.
Thanks for being with us tonight.
Stick around. Quickcast is next.